What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am Magicide, and welcome back to our Geek Fest here playing Deus Ex, Human Revolution, the Director's Cut. Last episode we had a little bit of a foible. Quite a big one, actually. And I didn't actually get a chance to record my commentary, which really sucks. I really apologize for that. That's wholly embarrassing. And the whole reason is because I decided to, mix things up and try recording my commentary through a whole different program, and then have all of the video game content, the audio, the gameplay footage be recorded on another piece of software that was pretty much just strictly dedicated to just recording the contents of the game, and then have another program dedicated to my voice. And when I booted up the other program to record my commentary, unfortunately, it just didn't save my settings. I thought it did. I thought it saved my settings as far as my microphone input source and my output source, and it did not. So it didn't record it. So what ended up happening was I ended up recording an entire 45 minutes long worth of footage with no commentary whatsoever, unbeknownst to me. And I just found out about that a second ago, because I've had to adjust the audio levels in game to reflect all of my changes here, all of my changes as far as changing, recording sources and splitting up the audio. And yeah, didn't really work out. So at least you guys can hear me now. Let's resume our game. Actually, before we resume our game, I did have a chance to actually listen to a little bit of the audio from the previous episode, and it was pretty low. I'm thinking we could get away with a little bit more power, a little bit more audio power. Let's see your sound effects. So what I've noticed in other games that I've already recorded for after making this change is that because the one audio source wasn't going to just include my commentary plus the video game music and sound effects and dialogue and whatever, it didn't have to basically have everything in just one audio package, one audio source. So by me splitting it up and having a different program cover my commentary and have another program record just the video game stuff, it's allowed me to actually have a little bit more of a better, personally, I think it's actually kind of better to a larger degree because of the audio. I can get better audio from the actual video game source, which means I get to turn it up more, which means you guys get to hear it more. And I think that may end up working, I hope. If not, we'll boost it up even more. Let's resume. When we last left off, we just sold a whole bunch of stuff, which allowed us to have more inventory space opened up. There's our woman right there. That's who we really want to talk to. But before we do that, we're going to come up here and start raiding the garbage cans.
You're Jensen, right? One of my buddies told me what you did at the plant. Nice job saving those hostages.
So we got one beer there. All these other people here are just random folks just standing around.
The biomod industry is going to tear this city apart. Mark my words.
So they're not important at all. I completely forgot we got credit chips. She's the only person we're talking about.
Have you found anything? Please. I've got to know what really happened to Megan.
I think that's
Yep,
about it.
okay. So she's the only one that really we get to interact with. Carla, the African-American bum that was sifting through the trash just a moment ago, she's the other person that we can actually interact with meaningfully, meaning that there's an actual, exchange, almost like a quasi-cutscene kind of thing. Otherwise, all these other people here are just kind of, just for flavor, to show you that Detroit is indeed, lived in. Not every one of these receptacles are actually going to contain anything, but we really want to spend the extra time going through them because you never know. There's always going to be that person, this unknown savior of ours that dumped a whole can of beer inside the garbage can for us to actually pick out. So, like I said before in previous episodes, it has been a while since I last played Deus Ex Human Revolution. So, look at that. Full beer. Yes. So there's going to be a lot of exploration. You know, there's going to be a lot of backtracking. Because I just simply don't remember where everything is at. Besides, there's a lot of stuff here in the Detroit city streets that it's kind of like... somewhat like kind of like Metrovania in a way, because it's like, you know, you get enough experience points to get one AUG, and that one AUG will allow you to go back and backtrack to get other things that you weren't really able to get before. And then, you know, as you progress, you're going to end up getting enough experience points to get another AUG, which allows you to get other things. And yes, Deus Ex Human Revolution is one of those games where there are multiple ways to get into certain things, you know, at least through the quests. But when it comes to, like, a lot of this, like, ancillary secret kind of, like, little hidden room stuff, there's usually only one way to get in. For instance, like, this, like, garage storage unit thing here, there's only one way to get into it, okay? So it's either you hack this thing or you don't. And, you know, there are multiple ways to actually enter or open this door, but what I'm saying is there's only one way to get in here. Like, for instance, right now, we could actually save up our experience points and wait till we got to level 3 hacking. So we could just do it ourselves. Or I could use the AUD, the odd, if I really was that desperate. Or, you know, you could go around and, you know, hack terminals, listen to conversations, get pocket secretaries. And there may be a time where we just accidentally stumble upon the code to this place, too. The only way you're going to find out if you have the code for it is by actually interacting with it, because if you had the code, it would display it right here. We can't even bother hacking it because we're only on level 2.
Thanks for at least talking to me. Most people just walk on by like I'm invisible. They've made it practically illegal in the city.
Yeah. Not too far off from the real Detroit there. You know what? Actually, I think I'm going to be able to do this. It's really bothering the shit out of me, but I think we're going to be able to do that. Let's just put the music up a little bit higher, but the sound effects, I think we could probably get away with, like, probably maxing that out. And the dialogue... Okay. I mean, I don't want it to be too loud. I don't want to be sitting there, like, peeking. That would be bad. But I want it to be audible.
I can't believe this whole hostage thing. Terrorists on our own soil? I know.
I think the audio is just, it's excellent in this game, and part of the immersion of it is, you know, through the soundtrack, through the wizardry of Michael McCann. But not only that, but all the sound effects too. You know, the footsteps and some of the other ambient noises and whatever else definitely add to it. And I think it would be a goddamn shame if you guys missed out on that, because I just simply didn't have the audio worked out. Nice. A whole candy bar. Let's see here. Okay, so there's Carla. My problem is we need... Okay, so we actually got 3 cans. You needed this specific can of beer. The Mahara Hot Devil Ale. You need three cans of this stuff. You don't have to interact with her, by the way. She gives you codes. She'll give you, like, codes and, like, tips and things. She'll give you codes for, like, I think a specific lock. Okay, so I did look it up, and before we speak to Letitia, must be it. Before we talk to her, we need to have 4 brewskis, okay? And we need to have the very special beer. The, I think we just looked at this. The Mahara Ya Hot Devil. She calls it just Hot Devil, but we need 4 of them. She only drinks that 1 beer. So we're just 1 away. They're a pretty common item to find in the world. And that's why we want to meticulously go through the garbage cans, the bins. Yes, you can actually. I don't know if they took this out of the director's cut. I could test it out on this bum over here. Let's hard save our game just real quick. I'm just curious. I want to see if they actually took this out. Oh, no, they didn't take it out. So that was one of the complaints about... Well, actually, maybe they did take it out. Maybe they just took out the animation. Basically, the way it is that you can use your takedown move on just innocent civilians. Right? But, like, there was a... Oh, okay, so that's the reason why we don't want to do that. So it actually considers us, like, committing a crime. That sucks. Okay. So anyways, but, like, you could attack a civilian, just a regular old person out in the world, and it would still have the same, like, kung fu animation as if you were, like, attacking, like, I don't know, a cop or a soldier or something like that. Like, you know, the whole, like, John Woo-esque, like, fighting where, like they're dodging and defending and stuff, like, using, like, actual MMA style type of stuff. Like, the civilian, like, just knows Krav Maga or something just out of nowhere, and it was just a really wacky animation. I think they may have removed that for the civilians anyway. Well, there's our fourth beer. We can go back there and talk to Letitia. Sure, why don't we do that? I'm gonna say the world's my oyster at the moment. There's a lot to do here.
Well,
shit.
If it ain't the captain himself, Mr. Sheriff done fixed you up good, ain't he? Give you new set of glasses and everything. Damn.
How you doing, Letitia?
Didn't think I'd see you walking this boulevard anytime soon, that's for sure. Not after what happened 6 months ago. People said you's down for the count.
People tend to underestimate me.
You and me both, Captain. You and me both. You, got any credits you could spare?
So we got the 4 beers. We got the 4 hot devils. So why don't we just begin this conversation by giving her the beer?
Here. It's not credits, but...
Mighty kind, Captain. Mighty kind.
This one's on me, Tish.
Oh, keep it up, and I'm gonna have to give you something back.
Don't say I never gave you anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit, Captain. Now that's almost too much. Damn, Captain. You knows how to warm a girl's inside. Here, you take this. I found it on Brooklyn Court, near the basketball court. Thought I might hold on to it, in case I needed to crawl inside some rainy night. But maybe you find some use for it instead.
Okay, so what this is, it's basically a code for one of the, like, garage-looking storage units. And it's, like, attached to the sCut guy that was previously mentioned, the one arms dealer. And there are alternative ways to actually get this code, by the way. Like, if you really would just wanted to use the code instead of hacking the thing or using the AUD, is that you could hack sCut's one computer in his back room, which is really, really, really difficult because there's a lot of times where you go back in there and I think his bodyguard comes in there and, like, basically like flushes you out. You know, and obviously the moment, you know, you try hacking and he spots you, that's game over because he's gonna wallop you. So this is a much easier way of getting it.
How about you give me some information, and then we'll see.
Oh, damn, Captain. You ain't no cop no more. Why you gotta insist on using them rules?
Because it's my money this time, not the department's. You want it, you better give me something that's worth it.
Yeah, I guess. So what you want to
All
know?
right, so basically what this is like your chance to get basically ancillary information. You are getting like codes to just random things. And it costs like a 3-tiered system. So every time you speak about weapons, she'll give you like 3 different options. You know, there's like a 500 credit option, I think a 1,000 credit option, and I believe the last option is just 2,000 credits. And each one, you know, yielding a different response. Whether or not they're worth it, I don't know. You know, it's like they're usually just a 4-digit code to open up somebody's door or somebody's storage shed or something like that. I would honestly think that if you were really, really, really one of those people that just has to know or has like low impulse control or something like that, I would recommend not spending the money on it because these aren't like really crucial details. I feel like you could pretty much just go on the wiki page or the wikia or whatever and just look up Letitia here and then find out the information. She just gives you a variety of codes. I don't think it's really worth the money. I am going to go through the different dialogue options here just for the sake of completeness. And also, I'm going to have to say that IDOS Montreal got in or excuse me, I think it was Square Enix, got in a little bit of heat because there were some people or some groups out there that called this woman racist, or that she was a racist caricature in this game. And you know what? I completely disagree with that. I don't see any kind of racism involved here because I know that the person that's being depicted here is a homeless black woman, you know, that uses definitely an uneducated and very kind of like street dialect. I get it, you know, I understand, and then the definitely the lexicon that she uses throughout the conversation is definitely it says a lot about the person, but I don't think it's racist. I don't really think it's racist because I feel like if you've ever been or ever lived in a very large city or just a large metropolitan area where there's going to be, you know, a certain amount of homeless people, that, you know, this is kind of an accurate portrayal. And I just say that it's not anything to black people. I just think it's an accurate portrayal of just, you know, somebody that's poor and somebody that probably grew up with very little or no education. You know, I feel like it's kind of an accurate portrayal. And I feel, to be very honest, that more games need this. And I'm not talking about like this being some sort of like living epitome of, or just some sort of caricature of stereotype. That's not what I mean. I just feel like the portrayal of, you know, something that's a little bit more realistic is greatly needed in video games, because a lot of times, you know, the characters are like Adam Jensen here. They're a character that would never, ever, ever exist. And, you know, this character is basically like escapism, you know? He is fiction, whereas I feel like Letitia here, she is like somebody that could really exist out in the world, you know, somebody that you could actually look in the eye and see her and hear and touch and, you know, actually have a real conversation with. And I don't know. I don't think this is racist. I think this is really an accurate portrayal. And I think we need more examples of this in video games. I really feel like that. I feel like, especially in a cyberpunk setting too, because, you know, when it comes to cyberpunk or post-cyberpunk, I mean, that's really what the punk part of it is. The punk part of it is like, you know, accurate street grime. And to call, you know, Deus Ex Human Revolution even like calling it post-cyberpunk, I feel like is kind of a shame to some extent, because this game, and it has been argued through other sources and whatnot, that this game isn't really cyberpunk at all, because, you know, we're playing as this like godly cop character that's just going around just slaughtering people. And, you know, I could like beat any civilian right now at will if I wanted to, and I definitely have the power. And, you know, that's not what cyberpunk's about. The cyberpunk's about the disenfranchised. Let's ask her about the weapons.
It's been a while since I walked the beat. Where would a less than exemplary citizen go these days if he needed to acquire some unlicensed firepower?
Well now, I's hear there might be a gun seller or two around town. But an adventuring man, especially one fixed with some of that fancy techno limbs Mr. Seraph makes, he might be able to acquire a few more if he's willing to go the extra mile.
And we are definitely not going to be paying her anything. You know, I could see the justification for actually paying her in the actual play style that we're going through if we're putting it into context. Because as you could see, you know, when we went to the weapons vendor, since, like, we're not buying any actual firearms or anything that's going to potentially kill an enemy combatant, we're going to have an abundance of extra credits left over. So we could potentially pay for this, but I'm not going to. I'm a little too tight-fisted for stuff like that.
You've always had a good feel for this city, Tish. What's the mood on the street these days?
Oh, things ain't looking good, Captain. People losing their jobs, their homes, locking everything they own into those garage door storage units around town, hoping nobody breaks in and steals stuff. Mr. Seraph gonna save us? He better do it soon.
Or what?
Not sure. Just feels like this whole city's waiting to explode, especially in the alleys behind the gas station. Most of the time, you's fine walking there, long as you don't cause no trouble. But you do something wrong, well, cops and punks both trigger happy these days.
So the other thing, the other reason why I don't really want to pay her and rather save the money instead is simply because a lot of the things that she gives us codes for, I would preferably rather actually just hack my way into them. Like, even if I have the code, I'm probably going to go the hack route anyways because I want the experience points. And to be very honest, when you go and hack a lot of terminals, you know, whatever kind of terminal, you know, there's a lot of chances where there's more than just the hacking experience, meaning that there's like little data nodes where you get additional money or hacking software. And that, you know, that adds up over time. And I think it's definitely worth my time to actually spend my time hacking instead of actually just, you know, blazing my way through it using the codes themselves. So that's why I don't really want to pay it. I'm going to hack my way through it anyways.
I might need to do a little trespassing soon. Maybe get inside some places where I'd rather not be seen going in.
You being kind of vague, Cap, but maybe it's best I don't know
The Pacifics.
You got that right.
What I do know, though, is that most people tend to look down, not up. And even when looking down, they don't necessarily think about what's under their feet. If a person ain't too squeamish about getting dirty, they might be able to get inside one of the more sensitive areas in the city. Especially if they arm themselves ahead of time with the right info.
Well, I'd rather not pay for those Pacifics. Them Pacifics just ain't good enough. So, no thank you. I decline. I think we'll just leave now.
I think I've got all the information I need right now, Tish. Maybe next time.
I'll be right here waiting for you, Captain.
I bet you bees. Yep, and she did take all those beers out of our inventory. So right now, unfortunately, I think the only one we have is a Hefekraken. No, it's a purple dragon beer. You know, to be honest with you, I don't remember about the first episodes or not, whether or not I actually did see the Hefekraken. Is Hefekraken a thing in this game, or was it Mankind Divided? Oh, that's gonna really bother the shit out of me. Well, going off of the other reason why I wasn't going to pay for Tish's for her codes and whatnot is because there's a lot to do here, like I said before, and I'm pretty sure that we gain quite a few levels here, which means that we're going to be able to upgrade our hacking software or something fierce. Well, you know, we have a lot of options here as far as destinations and where to go. So we can meet with Dr. Markovic here at the Limb Clinic. Yeah, why don't we do that? I'll go ahead and take care of that first.
I, for one, approve of these protests.
Usually you always want to check out the Limb Clinics anyways because you have a chance of buying Praxis kits.
Mr. Jensen, David Seraph told me you'd be dropping by. I've just been reviewing the test results we received on you last week.
Should I start rolling up my sleeves?
Surprisingly, no. I see no trace of glial tissue buildup in any of your charts.
It's been 6 months, Doc. Shouldn't I be on neuropozyne shots by now?
One would think, but these test results show no signs of implant rejection. If anything, the bond between tissue and electrodes seems to be getting stronger.
So I'm free to go?
Well, Mr. Seraph did ask me to discuss another topic with you. You are aware that several precautionary measures had to be put into place during your first surgery?
Not all of my implants were switched on, I know.
The damage caused by the hematoma had to be taken into account. Your brain needed time to recover, to get used to the mechanical neural processors and turn them on naturally over time.
Cut to the chase, Doc. What does Seraph want?
He feels that you might be ready to speed up the activation process using special software known as Praxis kits.
You mean I don't have to wait for my augmentations to kick in naturally anymore?
You can, if you prefer. But Mr. Seraph did make a generous donation to LIM in your name, thus ensuring that Praxis software linked to your particular neuroenhancements would always be available to you and you alone. Please.
How fantabulous. So we just get 5,000 credits. And we get 1,000 experience points. Yeah. We will never be using the Typhoon, FYI, because that kills people. I don't believe that there was a non-lethal variant of the Typhoon in Human Revolution. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was a non-lethal variant in Mankind Divided. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do plan on playing Mankind Divided next. The harsh thing about me playing that goddamn game is that I pre-ordered it with it came with all the special bonuses. It was one of those games that I pre-ordered. Yes, it was. I feel very burnt on the game because I basically got this triangular empty box with this resin statue and then just a bunch of shit that I was supposed to input here on Steam. And so anyways, the whole controversy, or one of it, surrounding Mankind Divided was some of the pre-order bonuses that you got were straight up like linked to one save file, meaning you can only use it once. You can use it for that one campaign. And if you lost your save file, well, you're shit out of luck, man. You lose all those bonuses, and you could go to their little cash shop to buy, all that stuff all over again. And you want to know something? I'm pretty sure I completely forgot to save my save file from Mankind Divided. Actually, maybe I didn't, because I did use the game save manager now that I think about it, and I think that might have actually saved my save file. So the reason why I'm bringing all that up is because I did play through the game. I never completed it, but it would be nice to actually have that one save file available to me. So every limb clinic is going to have Praxis kits, the Typhoon ammo, the hypo stims, and sometimes they'll also have the little energy bars too. Well, first of all, we want to have this. We're gonna buy both of them, like, straight up right now, right here, and not tomorrow. We're gonna what does the hypo stim do? It grants a temporary increase of 50 health points. I don't know. I feel like this is really worthless for us, these hypo stims, honestly. I feel like this is really good for somebody that's going to go and do, like, I don't know, maybe like a melee build. Or somebody that's going to go, basically go in loud. They're going to go in heavy, meaning they're going to go in firearms and explosives and shit. But since we're going to go in stealth, like, I just don't really see the need for them. And not only that, but these things take up 2 inventory slots. I think these things take up 4. And it's basically just a big old boost to our energy, and we don't even have 3 slots yet, so maybe we shouldn't buy that quite yet.
Very well, Mr. Jensen. Use it in good
The big
health.
jug I'll eventually end up buying, but with our inventory being what it is right now, and the fact that we don't even have 3 energy slots, we're not going to even worry about it. We do have 2 Praxis points right now, by the way. There's a lot we could do with this, and there are so many upgrades and so little time. So all of these are good. The punch through wall, we're going to probably want this when we get into the derelict row area, because there are a couple of walls that we can break, but you got to be really careful about that, because if there's a guy standing on the other end of that, at the other side of the breakable wall, when we break it, we auto kill the enemy. And there is no option just to break the wall and just like pacify the guy without actually killing him. There is no option. It just auto kills him. So that's the unfortunate reality of doing this. And the game has or at least the original, I don't know about the director's cut. So the way it worked in the original was that certain crumbled wall sections here had an enemy on the other side of them. But that enemy was only there if you broke the wall, because if you end up just naturally exploring that section, there will be no guard there. And if you end up like crushing the wall the opposite way, there obviously won't be a guard there either. So it seems like some guards are going to be scripted in some of these doors, and that's why it's like kind of a dicey thing to have this. I don't know. You know, you are going to need it eventually. There are going to be other secrets, and I actually think that there may end up being secrets down in the sewers. So that's a contender, definitely. This is going to allow us to pick up like the vending machines and stuff, which end up, you know, usually hiding the grates. And sometimes we'll end up having like something really big and heavy that'll be on top of like a manhole cover. So we're going to definitely need that. This is going to increase our inventory. Let's see here. What else was there? Then there's the leg.